Live look from the Capitol in Washington. Sunday marks the first 6 months of President Donald Trump's second term. Back in January, Trump called for the new golden age of America, promising national success.
But how have those promises held up half a year later? And how political powers have shifted since January? How is that? And what are the top accomplishments and focuses of each side of the aisle?
Those are all certainly questions that will be discussed today at the inaugural Hill Nation Summit, a full-day bipartisan gathering in D.C. featuring leaders of government, business, and policy.
And joining us live to talk about what we can expect is the Hill's national political reporter, Julia Manchester. Julia, thank you for taking the time to join us this morning.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me, and thank you so much for previewing the summit.
Well, let's start right there. You got a star-studded lineup of political guests that you're going to have there. Julia, what are you most excited to hear from them, and how excited are you that we're finally the day of the event?
Well, I'll give you guys a preview of what to expect. My colleague, congressional reporter at The Hill, Emily Brooks, will be sitting down with Speaker Mike Johnson, as well as former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and the host of The Hill on News Nation, Blake Berman, will be sitting down with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. So we have some big names from the Republican side of the aisle and the administration. They'll be talking about President Trump's priorities, where they see Congress moving ahead, immigration moving ahead when it comes to Kristi Noem. But we also have a number of Democratic lawmakers also sitting down talking about what it's like to be in the minority in Washington during Trump's second administration and what to expect going forward from Democrats going into 2026. We have Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota coming, Congressman Ro Khanna, someone who's been floated for 2028 as a potential presidential contender. He will be sitting down with us. I will be sitting down with former DNC Vice Chair David Hogg. He's, of course, one of the co-founders of the March for Our Lives movement, and he's ruffled a few feathers within the Democratic establishment by trying to primary or calling to primary some incumbent members or to bring in younger, fresher faces into the Democratic Party. So we have a star-studded lineup here in Washington, D.C. today, a number of newsmakers, and of course, a lot of news to cover here in Washington. This is all going on as we're hearing President Trump go back and forth with Russia and pledging his support for NATO and Ukraine. We have this rescissions package that is potentially moving through Congress. We also have New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani here in Washington, D.C. today. Not at our summit, but we will certainly be talking about him with Democrats at our summit. So it's going to be a big day. Really excited because this is a collaboration between The Hill, News Nation, of course, our parent company, Nexstar. We're really excited to showcase this, I guess, collaboration between all three brands and sort of have these newsmakers present and hopefully make some news and talk, get some headlines out of this.
And Julia, it really is a who's who that you're going to have today. And I know you've got certain people that you're going to be spending time with today. I think a lot of people that are skeptical of politicians, it goes back for decades of a lack of transparency. You know, we want honesty, and it's hard for us to know if we're getting the honest truth or not. What do you hope to get? I mean, you got potential Epstein file cover-ups. I mean, there's so much going on right now. You just mentioned some of those things. What do you hope people get out of this? Are we going to get transparency?
Yeah, I completely forgot about the Epstein story, arguably the top story in Washington. So much going on, it goes to show you. But look, yes, hoping for some transparency and really hoping, I think, for a dialogue. You know, these are meant to be fireside chat discussions, that last 15 to 20 minutes where, we can delve into some of these issues, some of these conversations that are happening in Washington, oftentimes in the hallway when we're chasing down lawmakers or my colleagues at the White House are, shouting questions at the president. We don't necessarily get to have these in-depth conversations, but this is an opportunity to have these in-depth conversations on stage, streaming across multiple platforms. So I'm hoping that people get some context around some of these very important issues that I've discussed. And I'm hoping that a lot of these officials, lawmakers, open up and, tell us, kind of give us a view that maybe we don't see day to day watching them.
Well, yeah, transparency and kind of pulling that curtain back here. We all know in the news business how hard it is to pull off something like this. But what do you want people at home to know about the work that goes into getting politicians to agree to sit down in such an intimate environment like this? And Speaker of the House and Kristi Noem, like, these are big names.
They are big names. Look, in Washington, as well as in a number of other places, but particularly Washington, it's all about relationships and building those relationships, honing those relationships. My colleague Emily Brooks has been covering House Republicans for quite some time and has covered Speaker Johnson for quite some time. So that was a really big get. On top of that, we're also trying to showcase what the Hill, News Nation, and Nexstar are really trying to do as we enter sort of a new age in media, this streaming online digital age in media, showing sort of what we can do if we can combine forces and bring newsmakers into that in a city like Washington, D.C. So I think that is a big pull for a number of these lawmakers and administration officials to come and sit down with us.
Julia, real quick, I do want to ask you, as you have the Speaker of the House there, are you guys going to press it all on what seems to be a little bit of a breakaway from the president in terms of these Epstein files and also what's going on with the DOJ cuts and passing that? The Republican Party seemingly have a few members breaking away. Is that going to be something that's going to be talked about today?
I would imagine, I'm not interviewing, I'm on the Democratic side today, and I'm also interviewing a CEO, but I'm not interviewing one of the Republicans today, but I would imagine that would come up in conversation. Obviously, Speaker Johnson sort of breaking with the administration yesterday to make those, to call for the release of those files. So that's a top story. We're seeing it, not only on the Republican side of the aisle, but also the Democratic side of the aisle. Congressman Ro Khanna, who I mentioned will be at our summit, he has called for those files to be released. So we'll be watching for that.
All right, that event again scheduled today at 9 a.m. Julia Manchester with The Hill and all your teammates, everyone that's been working to put this together. I hope it goes off without a hitch. Good luck, and thanks for sharing insight into that today.
Thank you for having me.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.